Elections are a very vital aspect of the governance and democratic system of our nation, notwithstanding the level. Today on Law Express, we have a special on public election regulations. My name is Nuella Seidu. You just tuned into Law Express. Stay tuned. Right after this commercial break, we'll bring to you the rest of our panel, and then we discuss the topic, public election regulation. Stay tuned.
Meet our panel for this week. Panelist number 1, Justice Srem Sai, a product of the University of Ghana and the Harvard University. He is a legal practitioner and a law lecturer. He has interests in the areas of constitutional law, international human rights law, and commercial law, where he has conducted some research and taught as well. Although a general practitioner, he is most interested in corporate commercial law and human rights law. He likes playing football and card games. Mrs. Georgina Opoku-Amankwah is a lawyer and a deputy chairperson of the Electoral Commission in charge of corporate services. Until her appointment with the EC, she worked with the National Commission for Civic Education as the deputy director in charge of programs in the Ashanti region, and also practiced as a private legal practitioner. She is a seasoned trade unionist who has held several positions in the trade union movement in Ghana. She was the first woman to chair a district council of labor, the first to chair a regional council of labor, the first woman to chair the Ghana Trade Union Congress, and the first woman to chair a labor center in West Africa. She is a perfectionist and strives for excellence in whatever she does. She enjoys cooking as her hobby. Panelist number 3. She is a regular Law Express panelist and is a member of the Ghana Bar with interest in general practice cutting across both civil and criminal law. She believes in justice for all and empowerment through information. Meet our regular panelist, Nuella Seidu.
You're tuned into Law Express on the topic, public elections regulations. People will wonder how public elections are regulated and what body is there to regulate public elections.
The Electoral Commission of Ghana, the body that is mandated to conduct elections in this country, is a creature of statutes, and it's on its own. And therefore, every activity of the Electoral Commission is regulated by law.
Okay, so based on these laws, who then qualifies to register?
Let me start by saying that the elections process starts with registration of voters. And in this country, the law that governs the registration of people to vote is CI 91. Formerly, it was CI 72. And currently, we are operating under CI 91. And in the CI...
Constitutional Instrument number 91.
Constitutional Instrument, yes, because like I indicated, the EC is regulated by law. And the Constitution, Article 41, empowers the EC to make regulations to regulate their activities. Yeah, so under Article 51, CI 91 is regulating the registration of voters generally.
So let's look at some of the qualifications that you require to be able to register. Of course, we all know that you must be a citizen of Ghana, you must be 18 years of age and above.
Of sound mind.
Yeah. You must be a resident or ordinarily resident in Ghana,
in
the area.
Register.
Yes, and you must not be prohibited by law.
Any other law, yeah.
And I think people that are convicted for crimes, and in custody are not allowed to vote. I don't know if the law has been changed.
Now they can...
Now they can register.
So what other prohibitions, could come up to restrain or prohibit somebody from being able to register as a voter?
For registration, everybody can register. Currently.
Once you meet those requirements we have listed.
And formerly there was a law. The law was that if you have been imprisoned, and even if you are released until a certain number of years, you cannot register. But now A certain gentleman took EC to court. Yes, and the Supreme Court ruled. And you know, Supreme Court rules are part of the laws that we work with.
Yeah.
So the law currently is that prisoners are even entitled to register.
Even in
Exactly,
prison.
yeah. So we also make arrangements to go and register them.
So when you apply to register as a voter, what evidence do you present?
The evidence you present is number one, you need to be a Ghanaian. So if there's any form of identification,
Okay.
of course, we are not taking birth certificates.
Okay.
Because that one, exactly. But if you have a passport, a driver's license, and
National
national
identification
identification card, and then formally,
Yeah.
the national health insurance card.
Yeah, but now
But
it's
it has
no
been
longer.
outlawed, yeah.
Okay, but I think
So-
you could also use an existing voter ID card.
Existing voter ID card, that's
Yeah.
number one. So if you participated in the previous registration exercise, then you can bring that card and come onto the biometric.
Okay.
Yes, but now you can't use another biometric card to come onto the biometric.
Oh, okay.
Exactly, you are already
You're
in
on
it.
it.
Because of the biometric, you are
So
already
if you
in it.
don't have any of these forms of identification, how else?
Then you need two people to guarantee for you.
Very well.
And those two people are to be people who are already on the register. They are to be registered voters. And they would guarantee for you that, yes, they know you are a citizen of Ghana, you are of age and of sound mind, and that you qualify to register. And then the EC will register you, as if there's no challenge.
Okay.
One of the things that I think about is the qualification on state of mind. How do you determine? How do you determine? Because do you just see the person and say, okay, you are not qualified? You need some special procedures to be able to.
Okay, in this country, our law says that until somebody is proven to be, proven by a certified medical practitioner, that is of unsound mind. So what we do virtually is that we do all these activities in the community. So the community also help the EC to actually go about some of these things. We live in the community. We know people who are not, in quotes, normal. Yes, and so such people, when they appear to register, people in the community may challenge the process, and then it is taken through there. We cannot say that because
Looking at him, he is
you are
so
not
then it's
exactly.
Okay, and then he
Exactly.
says that I'm challenging it, okay, I'm very sound. Then it becomes an argument.
I can recount of an experience I had in Koforidua. I'm in charge of the Eastern Region as a commissioner. And then during the last registration exercise, I was monitoring the exercise, and then I went to a certain polling station. Then a gentleman came, and you see him, and you know that this is a madman. Then he came and said, "Madam," he greeted, "Madam, me pese me betro meeting." And it was after the exercise, so during exhibition. Then I said, "Oh, it didn't run the HM, so this one is for exhibition." He said, "Oh, then I can't vote." He said that. Then I said, "Yes, you can't vote because you didn't write your name." And then he told me that I came here, this same station, and they told me it is not yet time to register.
Oops.
You see? So,
So
I
are we
told
looking
the
at the
officers, and
levels of
exactly.
soundness?
The officers agreed that yes, he came here on several occasions, but they had to tell him that, oh, it is not yet time, it is not yet time. So all along, he was even monitoring the process.
But
But if
anyways,
we go by this, then in the perfect world, what should really happen is that there should be a psychiatrist sitting there and checking everybody. Because there are some people who may look very okay, but we all know that they are not stable.
Exactly.
So,
not
so if that is the
Sometimes
case,
intermittently,
you know,
they look normal.
and these are some of the excesses, you know, because then they have some discretion. Like most people, professionals have that room to make these kind of
I'm very
decisions.
passionate about this issue because
Yeah, you are interested in human rights.
Yeah, the human rights aspect of the thing, because you are not disqualifying this person because he's not made, but because of what you suspect him to be. But that is exactly the reason why the law says that. Don't use your personal judgment to declare someone to be of unsound mind.
That's what we are saying. Because this gentleman I'm talking about, for instance, according to the officers, he came there on several occasions, but they just kept on telling him that, oh, go, it is not yet time for that, it is not yet time for that. Then one time, even one of the officers said, "Do you have
an identification?"
Identification.
He said
Then
no.
he said no, he doesn't have. So then the guy said, okay, then go and bring two people to come and, testify that you are a
Exactly
Ghanaian and
my
you can
point.
register. And he couldn't come back again.
So it's on
But-
two legs. That first, so far as they were concerned, he didn't look of sound mind.
Yeah.
But then they still gave him the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
Yes,
okay, by asking him to
Because of
prevent...
the way he was coming there regularly
Exactly.
to check.
And he failed to bring it. So in this case, he could not register because he did not bring any form of identification. Let's move on to, yes, you have registered and you've misplaced your voter ID card. And for some reason, it could be as a result of it being lost. It's been stolen, damaged, tampered with. Maybe some child cut it with a scissors, or it's been destroyed in a fire, in a flood. I know that you report to the district officer of the commission. But once you make that report, what is the next step? What happens?
You don't even have to report to the officer.
Okay.
You only walk to any branch of the Ghana Commercial Bank, and then you pay an amount of 5 Ghana cedis.
Oh,
You bring the receipt to the district office, and it's printed for you.
so that is your format. So instead of all of us queuing at your district commissioner's offices, just go to the bank and do it.
Exactly.
So people
You
don't
just
keep
pay,
coming.
and then you bring the receipt for a reprint of the card. And when the card is printed again, it's inscribed on it duplicate to actually show that the original is lost or damaged. Or
Because I can see a situation where someone may say, I've lost it, but actually has it.
Exactly.
So if you don't distinguish between the original and the duplicates, then the person may have more than one original. Okay.
So if I have a challenge as to somebody's application, I've seen Justice Sai standing there trying to register. I know this guy is from Togo, and I know he's not a Ghanaian. And nobody there can, bear witness that this guy is Ghanaian. He hasn't naturalized, he wasn't, he's not a citizen. What should I do? Should I just bundle him up and throw him out of the line?
No, that has been the confusion we are grappling with.
Yeah.
What you have to do is that there's a form at the point of registration. So when you see somebody who you think is not a Ghanaian or not qualified to be on the register, you only have to approach the registration officer and get a form, the challenge form. And then he fills it for you, and then you sign. And then the challengee would go through the process all right, but would not have his card.
Okay.
We will not give the card to him. We would only give him a notice to appear before a committee. There's a district registration review committee who sits to determine some of these issues.
Yeah, he was starting on this committee thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and even at that level, if you still want to appeal further, then you go to the chief registration review officer, who is a judge.
Oh.
Yes, and then review those applications.
So there are
The Chief Justice appoints
the
registration.
CRRs, yeah, the judges.
So
and a judge, in a magistrate, or a lawyer of 3 years standing.
So are their pronouncements final?
Yes, the CRRs.
No room for further appeal up the ladder to the maybe.
Once it gets to the DRRC, and then you appeal to the CRRO, that ends it.
Wow. So once they make any pronouncements, it's final.
Yeah.
What about the publication of the provisional voter register? I know you have the obligation, okay, or the responsibility to exhibit the voters' registration.
Yes.
How often do you do that? How effective are these? What is the patronage? Do people really come out?
Any time we review the register,
Yes.
that's any time we get people on board, then we exhibit it for people to come and see that actually their names are included. If your name is inadvertently not included, then you fill a form for inclusion. If there's another person's name that is included and you think that person's name shouldn't be there, but you didn't get the opportunity to actually challenge the person doing the
Can
registration
somebody check
process,
for another?
then somebody can check for another. The only thing is you cannot do the biometric for the person. This time, for instance, because of the issues with the register, and we said we were using that process to actually audit the register.
Yeah.
So what happened was we went there with the BVD, the biometric verification device.
Yeah.
So everybody who went to the exhibition center also had the opportunity to verify his finger,
Oh.
Okay.
to actually let us know that he's the one who is on the register.
But this will be for a period of time.
Yes,
it won't be
was
forever.
for 3 weeks.
Good. So if within that 3 weeks you were sick, maybe you were in a coma,
We got
you were not
just
in
about
town,
46%, yeah.
So what about the rest of the people? This is how the
Oh,
confusion
some
starts.
Some of them were also, we put some SMS, what have you, on 6363. So some people also
Could verify via
from
SMS.
there.
I went through that process.
Okay,
I texted
okay.
my...
And it worked very
Exactly.
well.
It worked very well.
Because I went to,
The
to the center.
Yes, but the advantage you have is that on the voting day, you are likely to be verified.
Okay. But then your
But the
fingerprint has
person-
not been
Exactly.
verified.
Exactly.
And what if they turn you back on grounds that your fingerprint has not been?
No, this time the law, CI 94, is actually making room for people who could not be verified.
Yeah.
Once they are on the register
Yes.
and their barcode is successfully scanned on the register, then they can be manually
So
verified.
fingerprint or no fingerprint, you should be able to vote once you have evidence?
Not, I mean, everybody, or do I say, you would have to go through a process.
Okay.
You know, the fingerprint
It's not
is
automatic.
one.
Yeah.
But we realized that in 2012, people were having challenges with the verification.
Yes.
So what's in our appraisal of the system, what we came out to know is that when you are registering, all the 10 fingers are taken. But on the voting day,
They
when
just
you
want
go,
one.
Exactly. So this time, if you go and the one is not working,
try
you
another.
go through a process of taking all the 10 fingers if it's available.
So if 9 work, or maybe you lost one, the one they want, you
No,
know.
we have people who don't even have up to 5.
Yeah.
So those people, we term them FO, face only.
Oh, okay.
So for those people, when they come and you scan the barcode and their faces show,
and
exactly.
And then
They
matches.
don't,
Resemblance
exactly.
of
They
the
don't
person.
really have to go through the verification. Yes.
I
There's
know
people
there are
with
some
2 fingers.
offenses, since we are still dwelling on registration at this time. What are some of the offenses, registration offenses?
Registration offenses when you present yourself as somebody who you are not. When you register out of time.
You're not qualified to register.
When you are not
and you
qualified
do.
to register.
So we're
and
looking
you
at
do-
minors.
Minors, yeah.
So what happens to a minor who registers and on the day you realize that this child is actually just 14. She's just tall, okay? And she just has a well-built body.
That's on the day of voting.
Yes.
You can't do anything.
You can't arrest
You can't, no.
and
you can't
prosecute before a juvenile
No,
court.
no. Once the person gets through the registration process,
He's
and
allowed.
You don't, that's why even at exhibition, we also have the opportunity to go and challenge. But once the person slips through these 2 stages, on the voting day, you can't stop him or her.
My
from-
goodness. So
I
if
can
that
understand
baby
the situation
crawls there on the voting day with a valid registration, a valid card, ID card, you're going to look at this baby and go like, okay, carry her up to vote.
No, those are exceptional
My
cases.
goodness.
I mean, if you say a baby.
I can
But if
understand the
somebody
situation.
comes, and sometimes, but the good of it is that now CI 91
Yes.
also empowers the officials themselves to challenge.
Okay.
If nobody is even challenging, you, the official who is working on the process.
But I'm thinking about the downside.
I can understand the reason why you shouldn't turn people away on the voting day. That would be so chaotic.
You can't.
Because just imagine. This
No, and it will
person
leave
coming-
so much discretion, room for discretion
Yes,
on the
and
part of
yeah,
the officers and
So
the
I think
people there.
it makes a lot of
And if
sense
people
to
are
me.
challenging on the day, that is just recipe for disaster,
disaster.
because there's already
Yes.
tension on the
The
day.
elections can go on.
But I'm looking at the other side, where the person is actually more than 18. But the stature is just that. The person appears tiny. I now get to this center. I have a valid card, all right. But this officer is challenging me. Keeps saying, look, you are not up. Just because the person perhaps is a lady and maybe doesn't have anything, you know, in front of her, or, you know, doesn't look that mature. But the person is up to, is of age.
It happens. It happens. And during such issues, in resolving such issues, when it gets to the DRRC, that is where the person should come with every available evidence.
Birth
that they have.
cert, witnesses.
Sometimes the committee can
do a medical
make
exam.
investigations. So sometimes they can even go to a school where the person had schooled to actually get the records to know that he's of
What
age
about
or-
those early bloomers? Some people go to school really early. Still, it doesn't cover.
But over there, they won't lie about their age.
At that time,
When they
there
are
was
going
nothing
to
at
school.
stake.
So even if he's a child, underage,
Yeah.
he will still quote the correct age.
Very well. We'll go for a quick commercial break as it's getting really exciting. And when we come back, we proceed on with the registration offences and others. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
So we were discussing the issues of offenses.
Yeah, registration offences,
The punishment is 2 years, maximum of 2 years imprisonment, or a penalty unit of 500 penalty units.
Yes. It's not all of them.
Okay.
If you look at the law, we've listed those that comes with those punishments.
Okay, some of those are,
Some of those are impersonation.
yeah, forgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgery and also registering more than
Exactly.
once,
Registering more than once.
and also providing
And
information
then
which you know to be
it's-
false.
Exactly.
And,
And then tampering with the equipment.
Yes, or bringing an instrument to the place to tamper with the equipment. But what about these people who come there to challenge somebody's inclusion in the registration? But you know very well that these assertions you're making are false. You just want to disenfranchise somebody. Those are also registration offences.
Offences
But are they also punishable by imprisonment and a fine?
Yes, that
unless
falls
you
within,
check
two, it falls within,
Because,
so,
and there are a lot of such people who also go unpunished.
Yes.
Because especially people who challenge people's citizenship status.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always been telling people that maybe if you want to challenge somebody who's not a citizen of Ghana, you should really know what you are talking about. Because our law, if you look at the Constitution, the way the law is, it makes a lot of room, or opens a lot of space for people. Because it even says that even one of your grandparents,
Yeah.
if he's,
Yes,
a Ghanaian.
a Ghanaian,
yeah.
yeah.
So you may know the person as, oh, this person is a Malian. I know he was born here in Ghana, blah, blah, blah. You may not know that maybe a grandparent or what have you may be a Ghanaian.
There are also offences relating to the registration forms, where you go and print without authority.
Exactly.
Forms that are related to the registration, and you give it to people, and you want people to fill them and stuff like that. These are all registration offences.
Then the
This is an interesting one.
officials, the officials will also do the work.
Yes.
Sometimes they will connive with some party officials.
Yes.
And would want to take the registration out of time.
Okay.
And the good of the system is that it will show.
Oh.
So when it shows, all such names would not come onto the register.
So it's in your own interest to make sure you do the right
Exactly,
thing.
you do it within the time allotted for the exercise.
and there is this interesting offense which says spiritual threats to prevent someone
From
so
registering.
you threaten someone that some
you
gods
register,
of your
yeah.
village are going
Now
to
that
be...
a lot of people are, invoking curses.
Yes, so that's an offense. So in this case, threatening someone with spiritual forces is also an
But
offense.
even with this issue of falsely, or you know that it's not in good faith, you know that what assertions you are making are false, and you challenge somebody's citizenship, that is an offense. But what is the punishment for such? Because you mentioned that many people get away with that.
Yeah,
But we should this is a platform for education. We should let people know that you can just not walk around, causing chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the punishment
And
is
that you be punished.
500 penalty units of fine, a maximum of 2 years, or both.
But how many people really go in for
when
such?
I said
People
they
walk
go
away
unpunished,
from
I
these.
was actually referring to where the challengee
Yes.
would come out successfully. Most of them would not want to pursue.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Because as a citizen of Ghana, if somebody challenges that you are not a citizen of Ghana, and then finally it comes out that you are a citizen of Ghana, I take it as an insult.
Okay.
Because you are a proud citizen.
Exactly.
In the true sense.
Exactly. Because if I'm a Ghanaian and you are telling me I'm not a Ghanaian, I'll be very angry.
But then that
So
would-
one day, eventually, it's determined in their favor.
Yeah.
They just leave it.
Yes,
So
Because they are
I've-
happy that they've
they're
been
happy that they've been
vindicated.
I've always been saying
vindicated.
that if we are getting 1 or 2 people to actually take such challenges to court and get them, fined properly,
But I think
some of these things will
if
stop.
you read the offense carefully, the catchword is knowingly. If I'm challenging and I know the basis of my challenge is false, then that is a crime. But if I'm
That is
doing it
under
in good
this law.
faith, yeah.
But I'm talking about person to person.
Okay.
Okay, as in
get
you
me.
may sue the person
Exactly,
defamation.
for redress.
Defamation. Yeah.
How have you been lowered before, right, people? That you are a stateless person?
Yes, it's the person. Or you belong to
Or-
a country that you actually don't belong.
No,
You are
that's you are a
claiming to be
liar.
who you are not.
And that's you are a liar. You're making
Yeah.
false
Yeah.
representations.
So it's a very serious issue.
And there is this one which says the place designated for registration. So you cannot register someone outside the designated place.
Very well.
Exactly.
So if you claim that your uncle is sick, and for that matter, you have to take it to his house or the hospital or the shrine where he's
it is not
undergoing medical treatment, it doesn't matter who your uncle is, he has to come.
It is in such situations when they think that, okay, the exercise is starting from 7 to 5. So after 5, maybe I can go somewhere and do it for them
Okay.
with their kids.
Okay. But then,
But then
such
it
will
will
not
show.
reflect.
No, it will show. The
Oh.
time that you did it will come. And then
Oh.
automatically it will go to the exception list. It won't even come to the main register.
Oh, okay.
It's the reason why there are some people who go walk confidently to the station and then presents his card all right. And then he's told that his name is not on the roll.
And then the chaos starts.
Exactly. So if the officer takes his time to go through all the various lists at the center, then he will know that either he's on the multiple lists or on the exception list. And if you are on these 2 lists, there's no way you should be allowed to vote.
Okay. And then there is this issue of giving someone something of value to procure them to register. We know
Yes.
of vote buying, but registration buying, let me put it that way.
Yeah, you know that this person is qualified to register. Okay,
Yeah.
the person is sitting in his
Basking them
house,
to come.
and you are no, the basing will not be of value per se. As for the basing,
giving
you are
them
just
something
you're just facilitating the process of a registration. But you go from house to house, giving everybody 1 chicken,
Yeah.
plus 5 Ghana
20
cedis,
cedis.
20 cedis, credit, all manner of things to get them, you know, to come and then vote,
induce them to come
to
and
register.
register.
Sorry. Because under normal circumstances, he wouldn't have registered. But it's important to mention here that it is your civic responsibility
Yes.
as
As a
a
citizen.
qualified citizen of this country to go and register to vote.
Yeah.
It's only fair and it's only wise to be part of those that hold your own destiny in your hands. Because your leadership, you know, carries you as well in the decisions they make. So why shouldn't you as well be responsible for whoever you choose to run your affairs? But then in such a situation, I think that should be a registration offense.
Yeah, it is. If you so if I give people T-shirts, so I'm standing at the
Is the
registration
T-shirt of
center.
value? Would the person use it? Did it induce the person
Person
to
to
register?
come and-
Those are
yeah,
all
those
the
are
things you should look at.
considerations.
Yeah, because if you give me a T-shirt, I don't think it's enough to induce me.
That is you. That is you. I'm sure
And
people
I
are
would have
ready
been
to
going
take-
to register already as
People are ready
a
to
law-abiding
take it in
citizen
20
of the
cedis.
Republic of Ghana and a proud citizen. I would have been registering anyway.
In that case, then the T-shirt is not inducing you, as you know, because the law says induce the person.
So how do we even prove this? And when you are able to prove that this person went around, okay, inducing people and giving them money and other things of value, food, maybe packed wache, packed sobolo,
Proving some of
anything.
things are very difficult.
Yes, proving is difficult because after I've consumed the food, now
I
what?
was even thinking that we should, instead of punishing someone who who motivates people, let me put it that way, to go
Yeah.
and vote, why would you punish them?
register-
why would-
yeah, to
you should
register.
reward them instead, because registration is not voting necessarily.
And
so
having
there
a
will be
card
another day
doesn't mean
that you
that the person
yeah.
will eventually vote.
So I know vote buying is wrong, but
Yes.
procuring people to register should be actually.
You know, we
applauded
have
and
now talked
rewarded.
about registration and registration offenses. We've covered who qualifies to register, who, how you can prove that you can, what documentation you need to present to be able to register. We'll go on to the elections itself, okay? The election day, what happens, what are the offenses on the day. But before then, we've gone to sample people's opinions by way of Vox Pop, okay, on the streets to find out what they know about election regulations. So let's take a listen and then we can comment on some of those and move on to the issues of voting, proxy, and all the other aspects of the elections itself. Stay tuned, this is still Law Express.
Some of the electoral offenses I know of, I can mention, you shouldn't hang around where voting is ongoing with wearing party paraphernalia, or you shouldn't go for ballot boxes and then running away with them. And you shouldn't probably causing violence around where voting is ongoing.
Some of the offense in the electoral process is underage voting, and also voting twice. That's double voting.
You voting twice, and you using someone's name to vote, and you wearing a political party's shirt here to present yourself to cause chaos Registering twice, voting twice, tampering with electoral materials, snatching ballot boxes, wearing party attires to go and vote.
Double voting, snatching of ballot boxes, wearing of party colors during elections.
The electoral offences, you shouldn't vote twice. You shouldn't vote for someone else. You shouldn't even register twice.
It is your right to exercise your franchise, but you shouldn't vote twice.
You don't check ballot boxes because you are not a presiding officer. They have to check on ballot boxes and other stuff. So all you have to do is just go vote peacefully. And if you don't know anything, you ask about it from the electoral officials. That's all you need to do.
Double voting and double registration. And then also, this is where someone is voting and then an electoral officer goes in to interrupt with the person voting or directing the person who to vote.
Well, I think we have sentences that can be meted out, or fines that can be given to the individual to deter them from doing such acts.
Sometimes you can be told to pay for the damages you caused there, or you can be fined, or maybe you can be detained in a police station. That's what I know.
You pay fines to the court. Some too are imprisoned.
I'm sure you'll be imprisoned for maybe 7 years, and you definitely pay a fine. It's one way or the other, or you do both if you're not lucky. Yeah.
I believe if anyone offend the law take its course, and you can be jailed for that. There are jail terms that you have to serve, because once you wrong the law, you have to take the cost for it.
I am thinking, ideally, at least a fine will do, or if it's to the extreme, then maybe a day or two jail sentence would deter people from doing some of these things.
Yeah, it appears most of those interviewed, they appear to know some law around this whole election. Yeah, they are interested, so they, and that's good. It's a very good sign.
Yeah, it is.
And these are young, regular persons on the street, and they seem to know so much about the offences in particular.
I am impressed.
Yeah.
I am impressed. So you've registered as a voter.
Yeah.
You have everything checked out. You have confirmed your fingerprints. Your biometric registration is complete. Everything is in place.
The name had come on the register.
Exactly. And you've checked to confirm on the date of exhibition and all of the other steps. Now is the day for elections. How are people required to conduct themselves? We all know that, of course, it has to be peaceful. But what are some of the things that you have to stay away from doing? Just to rehash.
Okay. On the day of election, but before on the day of election, I would have wanted to talk about the transfer.
The voter transfer.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's.
Because you might have registered as a student.
Okay.
And then you are now out
home.
of school. Yeah. So you may have to transfer your vote.
So let's assume
Otherwise,
you are
you
a
can't
UDS student in WA, and then you've moved back to your house at Odoko. At what point can you transfer, and how do you do that?
There's always a period for you to do the transfer. I think 42 days to elections, then it's easy. Yeah.
So there's that huge window.
Exactly.
Until 42 days to the elections.
Yeah.
So that you can put together your house
Exactly.
and know who really is voting
Exactly.
where.
And then the law is saying that until somebody has lived in the area for 12 months,
Okay.
that he can be transferred to that place. So it's not a matter of you are in this, you are in school. So if you are in school and you ordinarily you live in Accra,
Yes.
but you've attended school at UDS.
Yes.
Yes, during elections and the election is coming home. You are at home when the elections is due. You can't make the transfer because ordinarily that's where you live.
You live, yes.
Exactly. And then you do the transfer, and the law is saying that you do the transfer only once.
Within a political season or cycle?
No, forever.
Oh.
And it is something that even in Parliament when we were, discussing this law, it came out as an issue. But then given the time and what have you, it just went through. So that is it. And then somebody might have also been transferred.
Okay.
To the place.
Yes.
I was in, is it Sege or that place last week?
Yes.
And there's a police officer who had been transferred.
That was what I was going to ask next.
And then he came and my officer said, no, you've not been here for 12 months.
Which is the law.
So, yeah, that's the law.
So such a
it
person has to
can't.
either seek permission and travel.
And then, exactly. So
At
when
whose
I went there,
expense?
and the
Especially as we are
authorities
not
there,
supposed to be giving things of value to
the
vote.
authorities there knew Madam is coming, and so when Madam comes, we would have to resolve it. I went there and I couldn't do anything about it because I said,
Your
at
hands
best,
aside.
he would be on the special voters list.
Yes.
Because of his, work
job
that he would do on the day of election. But how about his family? If it's moved in with his family?
Yeah.
Are
And that
we
person,
saying
when,
that?
when he's transferred again, let's
Exactly.
assume that this transfer went through.
Yes.
He can never transfer vote
Transfer
again,
again.
even if he's transferred to another
Exactly.
place.
But when with the security people, because of special voting, they
Yeah.
usually don't transfer.
They vote
Most of the
where
time.
they will be
Where
on
Because
duty.
during the exercise, we get them on board the special voting. So they vote on the special day. Yeah.
But I think this has to be
It has to be
amended
looked- yeah.
somehow.
Yes.
So
We-
that
we-
once you can
we
justify,
seriously
even if
have
it's
to look at
100
it.
times, you
Yeah,
should be
you
able to
Seriously
transfer.
have to look at it, yeah.
Because some people's jobs are such that they move around a lot, like medical officers, and all of those.
You don't have to suffer to vote.
Yeah, and even renting a place, it depends on how much you have and where the room is available.
Who qualifies to be a special voter?
A special voter by the law are people, the security men, people,
People in the forces. So what about fire
generally,
service?
they are also included. Generally, it is for people who work on the day of election.
Okay.
Those are the people who are given opportunity.
Do firemen
to
work on the
do-
process on the day?
Yes.
Okay.
When firemen, even immigration.
Okay.
Yeah, because we bring
Prison
all
service.
Such, exactly. We bring all such people on
All
board
hands on
to
deck.
man the various polling stations.
Okay.
And this year we are talking about 29,000 polling stations.
My goodness.
Yes.
What about
So
the
that
medical practitioners? Yes, they will not directly be linked to it, but we all know that considering the nature of what they do, if a doctor is on call on the day, saving lives, should he be disenfranchised because he was saving somebody in surgery or something? Shouldn't they also be afforded that opportunity to be
Unfortunately-
special?
Unfortunately, to the best of my knowledge, they have never made any such requests.
Okay, but they shouldn't. Should they make the request?
Well, yes, because we can't go outside the law.
Okay.
If you take the 94, for instance, this year, it's one of the reforms that is
Perhaps I
coming.
think this is
This
something
year
that should be
the-
looked at.
This year, the
Essential
Ghana-
service providers.
The journalists are coming on board.
Okay.
They were
Because
not
they
on board
also are
previously.
working on the day.
Exactly. They made a request, and then the reform committee looked at it, and then it was okay. So now they are also going to be, but accredited media.
Okay, not just any person
No,
who purports
no,
to
no,
be
no.
a media
No,
person.
that would be certified by the National Media Commission.
Okay. Because then
So the
you expect them to
GJ
be
Broadcasters
reporting on the day.
Association, and they will all go under the umbrella of NMC.
Okay.
And then they will submit the list, because we will need the list to actually load them onto the BVDs. Okay.
So what about, normally I realize that the EC uses other professionals to help even with their work on the day, because definitely the commission cannot have enough people to cover all the polling stations. And I noticed that you like to use teachers and to do these jobs. Do they also vote as special?
No, no.
So they vote on the day?
On the day. We usually, I mean, do it in such a way that where you registered is where you work.
Yes.
Then this issue again about my human rights instincts and persons with disability.
Yes.
Persons who can't see,
Yeah.
persons who can't hear or speak.
Assisted voting.
How do you?
Does it
what
come to
steps
play?
or measures do you
Those
put in place?
people come with assistance.
Okay.
The good thing now that we have been able to provide for people with the blind people is provision of the tactile ballot.
Oh, so you can feel it.
Exactly. So that it's like the Braille. They can vote on their own without assistance.
Yeah.
Yes, and we are going to provide 2 in each, for each of the such people.
Okay.
Yeah, because there will be 1 ballot for presidential.
But
and
I
then the
want to
other one.
believe that it's not every blind person that can read a Braille or
Okay,
feel to identify.
Okay, now what we've done is through the donor funding.
No, my point is, would it say out the party A, party B, party C? Then
No, it's the candidates.
Okay, candidate
You know, when
A.
we are voting, you don't use
Yes,
the...
yes, yes.
It's the symbol of the party. And
Yes,
the,
yes.
So we've made it, if, for instance, 5 candidates, The first one will have just one dot.
Yeah.
It's like...
oh, 1, 2, 3.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if the person, and before he gets there, he may know that my party is number this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's looking out
So
for
he's
his
looking
dots.
out for, let's say, like, number 3. So it's in the thing, and then he will just be
Is
counting.
it
and
every
then-
blind person that can read the Braille? and do this?
Not all of them, but we are also going
So
to
do you
train
have
them.
audio? Do you have
we
audio?
train them.
Okay.
We are taking them through training.
Okay.
Yes, we train their leadership, and then they also go and do the training of trainers. Yeah.
Okay.
So that when the person gets to the polling station, then if he can operate it, then it's given to him.
Okay, so there's some people, okay, who unfortunately cannot read or write. The person hasn't even decided what party he or she wants to vote for, gets to the place, appears confused, is wasting everybody's time.
No.
What do you do?
What we do is we are educating the people that when you get to the station, there are the steps in voting. And we usually publish it, and it's all over. So when you get there, you know that this is number 1. You get to the name reference list officer, who will check your name, whether you have the card or you don't have the card.
I'm not talking in regards to the steps. Because
Okay.
the steps, even if the person appears confused, the officers will help you that
Yeah.
starts from here.
Okay.
Okay, go here.
Okay.
I mean, they are very helpful in that regard. I'm talking about you finally hand the person the list, the ballot paper, and goes into the box and is standing there for 5 minutes. Everybody's
Doesn't know.
waiting.
Oh, okay.
And so you get closer as an officer and you're like, what's the
what's up?
problem? I don't know who to vote for.
Okay.
Having to what would you do with such a
happens in the
person?
polling stations. Oh, you only encourage him to, or her to
hurry up and
leave the, what have you. And you know, the political
And that's
parties
how
also
rejected
educate.
ones come.
The
Because
political parties also educate their members.
yes.
Yes, so the people, at least they know, because I read one of such manuals that they are also teaching them how to thumbprint.
Okay.
So if you go and it's for me, you
Then
do
the other
this, you do
aspect
that.
of the persons with disability issues, physical disability, and your
Yeah.
how you organize your place, how do they move
how
around,
they get up?
accessibility.
Polling stations, when we are doing or mounting the polling stations, we put all such things into consideration.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that all such people can access the place.
Yeah.
What some of them were asking for was that can't we create what have you for them, the polling stations for them? But then it's also that it came out that no, if you do that, you are segregating.
Yeah, that would be another violation.
And that is exactly of their right. So as much as possible, they should be able to access the place.
the process.
And then by our administrative arrangements, people with albinism, people with all such other disabilities.
Autism and
Exactly. Are expected to be assisted by the presiding officer to take them through the process.
Okay,
in
and
good
what
time,
about when
so
they
that They
arrive?
don't join the queue.
What about when they arrive? Can they jump the queue?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Pregnant women,
Okay.
people with albinism, any form
Oh.
of disability, and then the aged.
But pregnancy is not a disability.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's...
You're adding them to the list of
Exactly,
for the
it's
avoidance
just
of
like
doubt,
the
yeah.
aged.
Giving
Just
special.
to give them special treatment, so that they can get away with the process.
What about proxy voting?
Proxy voting, what proxy voting is about basically is that you have registered and you may not be available on the day of voting.
Yes.
So you would want me to vote
So
for
what
you.
do I do if
So
I
you
want...
go to, and before it happens like that, because of the biometric issues, I should also be a registered voter in your constituency.
Okay.
Yeah.
For ease. Yes.
Exactly. So what you do is, now that the window is open, the two of us will walk to the place.
Yes.
Then you are verified to actually know that it is Noella
Okay.
and this is Georgina.
Okay.
Exactly. And then the form is filled, you sign, and then
So
it's
the person
given.
is allowed to do it for you.
Exactly, on the
But
day
is
of
that not a
voting.
risky venture? That I asked Georgina to go and vote for me.
Well,
And
you-
I asked Georgina
No,
to
you
vote for
can't-
party
you can't
A
give- you
or
can't make
candidate
somebody
A.
you can't trust the project.
And I trust you, and you give me your word. But on the day, on your way, okay, somebody induces you, and you go, the person buys 1 vote and gets 2
My
free.
late sister and her husband had issues like that. My sister was traveling and gave the proxy to the husband. At the time, it wasn't like now that
Yeah.
the biometric. Then after everything, the husband's side won, and then he was jubilating like.
And the wife
Then he
was
said,
like,
"Hey,
who did you
then
vote
who
for?"
did you
So what happened?
But I think
she never stopped talking about it till she died.
So I think the main point is that you cannot be a proxy unless you yourself are
It's
qualified.
a registered
Yeah,
voter,
you are.
exactly.
Yes. No, but if you're not qualified,
Yeah, you
how do
can-
you then, be a proxy for somebody?
Unless you are also on the register.
Register.
Before you can.
Can we talk about death of a candidate?
Death of a
Okay,
candidate.
the person is already on the
Ballot.
ballot paper, but on the day, the person, how do you handle situations like that?
The
Do you
law-
stamp something over it?
The law provides for us. What it says is that 25 days within elections,
Yes.
and somebody dies, we open nominations again, and then the party
Can
where the
file
person,
another
exactly,
person.
can bring another person.
Yeah.
And then in the event that anything happens when the ballot had been printed and what have you, the ballot will be taken, the ballot paper will not be changed. But then any vote for that, candidates may not count.
So what if that
won't count.
the deceased wins on that?
No, the deceased cannot win.
Declare him
No, what happens is that if it happens even a day to the election,
Yes.
we won't hold the election
for that particular
polling station, constituency.
Oh.
Because we would have to open
That would be
nomination
for
further.
the parliamentary,
For
if
the
it is a
for the
parliamentary situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would just
And-
suspend that side
yeah.
and then do it later.
Okay.
Okay.
And if it's going to happen in the presidential, after nominations had been taken and blah, 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 there's still...
For just
we
that
open.
constituency.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
We open again for, nomination to come. Exactly. If it's a political party, then the party should bring a representative.
If it's independent.
But if it's
That's the end.
independent
Then
who
that's
dies,
it.
That's the end.
and there are 2 people already contesting, then
Yeah.
we won't,
And if it's only one person and an independent,
no, if one person and the independent and then the
Independent
independent dies, there will be further open.
oh, okay.
Because we can't go and just endorse one person.
Exactly.
But then if
But there are situations where we will endorse one person. For example, if nominations are taken, and then 25 days to the election, or somebody may withdraw,
Yeah.
or, a further 10 days is given for the person, people to come in. Yeah, if after the 10 days, nobody comes and it's still one person, then we can go on and declare.
So we have some questions from social media, and so we'll try to answer them.
Yes or no. It's only the election will not be held,
Yeah.
and then the person will be declared.
And the discussion is getting more and more interesting, but we have to go for another commercial break. And when we come back, we'll address the questions from social media, and then we can talk about other offenses, okay, on election day that people should avoid. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Eja from Abokobi. Good evening, Noella and your panel. Great show tonight. I have learned a lot on electoral regulations, and I want to know if I can stand around the polling station area to observe the election proceedings if I finish voting, because I want to see the move of every single person there.
He's not supposed to be there.
Yes.
He can stand within a certain radius and then
Okay.
observe.
Okay.
But
you
he's
cannot
not-
be within the vicinity
Exactly.
itself.
As for within the, when they are mounting or setting up a polling station, they use a tape to demarcate. And within that tape, there are people who are specialized to be there. Authorized to be there. Commission members, officials of commission,
yeah.
accredited
Party,
media, party agents, party candidates and their spouses.
Really? They can also be in there?
Yeah, they can.
Oh,
They
I
have
didn't know
access
that.
to the polling station. They also have access to the polling station. So that is it. So if you are a mere voter and then you vote, but maybe you just want to listen, what we advise is that immediately you finish voting, go back home.
But if you're allowing
Then
party members
during-
and their spouses in, for instance,
No,
madam.
but their
isn't
stakes
it?
are different.
Yeah, but
The
if there are
party
like
candidates.
20 candidates, parliamentary candidates, and each one is coming with his spouse, you're looking at 40 people standing inside.
No, they don't
plus
stand.
all the
they
people.
They don't stand, but they have access to that place.
Okay.
So you don't stand.
They may come and go and
Anyway,
come
many
and
of them
go.
wouldn't,
Ask
they'll
a
have to be
question.
going around, so they might not even stand there.
He may come and visit the agent
Okay.
And the agent is not even into that
Inside,
thing.
okay.
They are all outside.
So anybody else can also be outside?
Yes, everybody is outside.
Okay.
Yeah. And then towards the counting, towards the end of the process, you can come around and observe. And when you are observing, there's a certain radius within which you should stand.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't come to the table where they are counting.
Okay.
You just stand outside. And
Now that
observe.
you've mentioned the end of towards the end of the process, it's important that even if the process should close at 5 p.m. and you are in the queue at 5 p.m., you still be allowed to vote, even if you'll be voting at 9 p.m.
Exactly.
But if you come a minute after that 5 p.m., you'll not be allowed to vote.
Ellie from Ada. During the last election, I went to the polling station and I was told someone has already voted in my name. What can I do if that should happen again?
I wonder how it can happen this time. Previously, it could happen.
Okay.
But now with the biometrics, I don't know.
You need a fingerprint and all manner
And
of...
then when the barcode is scanned, your picture pops up with your details. So there's no way when Georgina Opoku-Amankwah is scanned, Noella Seydu will come.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sarah from Boli. Good evening, Noella and your panel. Please, I want to know if I can help my very old grandmom, who is very weak and fragile, on the election day to vote.
Yes, you can.
So you'll be allowed to go into the polling station with the person?
Yeah. Once the person is aged or sick, you can be you can assist the
But what
person.
is this level of assistance? Because if my grandma wants to vote for candidate A, and candidate B has given me something of value, and I put her fingerprints against my candidate, I mean, shouldn't a neutral person be assisting grandma to vote?
No, you see, it's the presiding officer.
Okay.
But that he comes in when you did not bring an assistance.
Okay, okay. So it's
So once
actually
you
your
brought
call.
an
So
assistant-
grandma should choose among grandchildren who she trusts that will allow her to independently vote.
But there are situations where they are in the screen and then the woman will be shouting. This is not what.
How often does that happen?
Oh, it happens in
My goodness.
And that should constitute
And that one,
an
then
offense.
the officer would come in. Yeah. The officer would come in.
I would like to see.
And,
Yeah, I would like to
I hear there was one such occasion that they had to change the ballot for the woman.
Because-
And what happened to the person who was trying to...
Yeah, that
fraudulently
person should be
or-
arrested.
It should be a
Should have
crime.
been arrested.
Yes.
But
But then
person should have
again,
been
oh, it's my
arrested
grandchild,
immediately.
please leave the person. Yeah, they say, very well. We can never exhaust all of these things. But before we wrap up quickly, can we talk about some of the things you should not do on election day? Some of the things. I know you are not allowed to wear party colors, party paraphernalia to the day.
or other
You
forms of
don't have
campaign.
to vote before the poll opens officially.
Yes. And you
Okay.
cannot campaign
And
there.
after it closes.
Yes.
You can't campaign there. You don't have to vote if you don't qualify to.
And if you
Yes,
don't
so-
have a valid register card.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't vote in the name of a dead person or a fictitious person.
Yes.
But that one now, those things are
Biometrics,
minimal.
yeah, they are minimal.
And you can't forge a ballot paper and use those papers in
You
in
don't
the process.
even have to put any other thing apart from ballot paper into
the box.
You're not allowed to go and police ballot boxes
At all.
and follow them around. You're not allowed to be too close to the polls, whether the
Yeah.
polling center.
You don't have to force somebody to vote in a particular way.
Yes. And you
You
should not
don't have
threaten,
to obstruct
intimidate
or interfere
anybody.
with the work of an election officer.
You don't
Okay.
have to remove notices and posters of the electoral
Or
commission.
deface them.
them.
Yes.
You don't
And you
do
have to
that.
generally conduct yourself in a peaceful and orderly manner, listening and taking a cue from the instructions of the officers.
And you don't have to excite enmity for the officials of
Yes.
the EC.
No.
You don't have to
False
organize
accusations.
mob to go and take any action that is.
Yes. Yes. They are endless, and I
You
know
don't
that
prevent them from working.
Yes, and I know that the commission will do a great job by continuing the education until the polls come out, especially around the season where the elections are just around the corner.
Yeah.
It's been a very wonderful discussion today on Law Express. It's our civic responsibility and our constitutional right to vote where we are qualified and registered to vote. But we have to conduct this exercise responsibly as citizens of this country. Today on Law Express, we've had this all-special topic, okay, on public election regulations. And we've had the honor of having a legal practitioner and Deputy Commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Madame Georgina Opoku-Amankwah, that I'd like to thank so much for coming on the show. And Justice Stromsai has been a part of the panel together with Noella Seidu. This has been Law Express. Goodbye.